Hi, I'm Karena Walter, and welcome to the Standard Newsroom. I'm here with St. Catharines Mayor Walter Sendzik for our monthly chat, and it's our last one of the year.
Last one. I can't believe how fast this 2016 has gone.
It is pretty crazy. Well, we'll talk about your agenda for 2017 at some point today.
All right.
I just want to start off because I think we're going to be getting a snowstorm tonight. I don't know if it's going to be a really bad one or not, but the city's introduced its snow parking program again this year. And I think the idea was to try and get cars off the road so that the plows can get by overnight, so that people don't park on the roads. Originally, the city was planning on ticketing and towing people, but I understand that now there's going to be more public awareness this year.
Yeah, and I think it's not about the ticketing. It's the program that was established last year, as you have covered in the past, has been about getting people into the habit of moving their cars off the road where they can. So we have a big city, and there's a lot of opportunity for people to get their cars off the road during a major snowfall. And that allows for our crews to safely get into neighborhoods, get as much snow off the roads as possible. Because what we find here in St. Catharines is that we'll get a significant snowfall, we'll get in there and try to clean the roads as quickly as possible, but if the temperature even rises a few points, then you get that freezing effect where you get a lot of ice, and you get the buildup in the what they call the windrows, where you have cars who have been parked on the road. The snowplow goes by and pushes the snow as close to the car as possible because they're going down these narrow streets, and then those cars clear themselves out after the snowfall, and you get all of these bumps in the road, and it becomes very treacherous for a lot of folks. So what we're trying to do with the new program is to encourage people to get their cars into their driveways before a major snow event so we can get in there and clear the roads. And it's especially for areas where you do have narrow roadways. And so in the future, what we'll be doing is also looking at the possibility of ticketing, but for the foreseeable future now, we want to just get in there with some literature, use social media, Twitter, Facebook, use the city's website, and through the standards website and traditional newspaper, is to get people used to the habit of, hey, it's a snow event coming, folks. Let's get as much cars off the road as possible, and it's courteous for everybody. And then we can get our snow crew through there to clean the streets as effectively as possible. So other communities have used it effectively. London, Montreal, Kingston, they have these kind of programs or these regulations where in the future, if you don't clear your road off, your car off the road in an effective time, then we will have to possibly go through and issue some tickets so that we can go in there and clear the road the way that it creates for safe transportation.
And I noticed the city is also reminding residents about it through their water bills, because I received one this morning myself. So.
Very effective way of learning about it.
Talking about driving around the Burgoyne Bridge, it's closed right now. It's being closed a little bit longer than we expected. Do you have any idea when it's going to be open?
We got a note from the region yesterday, and it said it's now going to be closed until December 23rd. So fingers crossed, because Old St. Nick might have to cross that bridge to get to all the good little boys and girls in our community. So we're hoping that the bridge is open in time for the 25th. It's a lot of frustration out there, and it's been closed now for a better part of a week and a half. And I understand the frustration. There's a lot of folks who want to come into our downtown. That's the main artery into our downtown. But we've been assured that it's close to being complete, and we just asking people to wait a little longer.
It's nice to see that Ontario Street by Welland is now smooth, so if people do have to go around, they're not going through that.
Yeah, we got a lot of calls to the office about that road as well, and it's been paved. The second paving won't take place until the spring, so it is a smooth traveling through there, and we'll be looking forward to having that road complete, the Burgoyne Bridge open. It's 2017 is going to be good for bridges and roads, I think, in our community.
I wanted to move ahead to 2017, but first I just wanted to mention you've got the dual duty budget meeting coming, or the dual duty meeting coming up on Monday. Who's going to be there? What can people expect if they show up? This is at 5 o'clock in City Hall.
For those who are interested, there's one more information meeting taking place, and It's a meeting open to the public. It's on Monday from 5 till 6:30. It's at the city council chambers. There will be regional councilors whoever is interested in attending. There's city councilors, whoever is able to attend. There's folks who work and they don't get off work until a certain time. So I guess what the public can expect is an opportunity to hear councilors who can attend talk about what their position is on the dual role. I guess the public can come in and ask some questions. You know, the frustration, Karena, is that we did a town hall at the First Ontario Performing Arts Center, and we had an opportunity to hear from the public. We had more than 30 people show up, which is the most that anyone's ever showed up for a governance discussion. And there was a good dialogue back and forth. We had some regional councilors in there. So, you know, this is just I guess a follow-up to that. The region kicked it down to the city to do one more public style meeting, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this again. And we hope that after this, because, you know, what a lot of folks are confused about is that when the region decides, when the region has to decide on this, and if they vote in favor of it, which I'm hoping they do, then it still has to come down to the city. And then there will be another public meeting in which the public can come in and talk to us about their opinion. So it's interesting because being an individual who came from the outside of politics, I wasn't a politician prior to becoming mayor. You can get a sense of people's frustrations with how government really slows things down, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And whoever shows up on Monday will have an opportunity to hear from, and then I'm hoping that, you know, that we move forward as quickly as possible to get to a point where we can have a legitimate discussion of council in the new year.
So council will actually be voting again on the dual duty after those public consultations?
Yep. Yeah, they have to. So the region has to vote still, and then once they do, then the city is going to have its final ratification vote, and then we move on from there. It's a long process. Unlike the province, which came along and just said, thou shalt have elected chairs moving forward of the region, and no public consultation, no town hall meetings, nothing like that. So, like, we've gone above and beyond. And for anybody in the public to say that we haven't gone above and beyond and had as many public information sessions as we've had, you know, they should look at maybe the province and say, how come you didn't do all these steps that the city has done? So kind of frustrating that way, but we're moving forward on this initiative, and we'll see what City Council has to say once it finally legitimately gets in front of them.
Okay, so let's move on to 2017, since this is our last show this year. Budget department presentation started this week. What can the taxpayers expect from this budget this year when you guys actually sit down in March?
Well, they were given guidance of overall 2%, and that's what they're aiming for as a corporation. That's what we're aiming for as a corporation. So we're trying to hold true to that line, and each department has come in trying to hit that threshold. Some have gone above it, like Transportation Environmental Services came in at 3%, Parks and Rec came in at just under 1%. You saw the Performing Arts Center coming in, I think, 32%, which is a significant challenge for, obviously, the community and for City Council to get our head around that number. So we're trying to find that balance, and I think with the expectation from the public is you got to show us how you're effectively managing the finances of the corporation. 2% is just at the rate of inflation, and if we can keep it at 2%, that's the target of council. But the reality is that in keeping it at 2%, what might not happen next year? So they've come forward with the closing of the Bill Burgoyne Arena again for the summertime, which affects lacrosse, and Budget Committee has said that's not an option. You know, we need to look at other ways. Looking at cutting back on other services that we've provided as a community or the community has come to expect, making sure that when it comes to transportation environmental services that we're not cutting back on the services that have a direct impact on residents. So, you know, if we come in at 2% and we have to cut a whole bunch of things, what are those cuts looking like? And that's where these department presentations are so important, because it gives the Budget Committee an opportunity to have a discussion and say, can we go with that without that for this year? And if we do, what is the impact on the community? So they're tough discussions, and it's $100 million budget. So cutting down to 2% when you've got wages that are contractually agreed to at 1%, 1.5%, doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room. I got to give credit to the staff and the budget committee so far for the work that they're trying to do to keep it at 2%. And it's going to be, I'm not going to mislead the public. It's going to be a challenge, but it's a challenge that I think we're up to. So,
What are some of your big goals for 2017?
big goals for 2017 is I think with 2016 you saw a lot of opportunity for development. The opening up of the student residence in downtown St. Catharines, close to 500 new students in our downtown, and you look at that kind of, and we're really focused on development. This council has been focused on bringing business back into the community. We had IKEA come to our community last year. We had the opening of the student residence in our downtown. We've got so many small businesses that have opened up across our city. We've got the contract at GM has been renewed for the next 4 years. THK which was formerly Thompson Products, is firing on all cylinders. You look at St. Catharines alone, and our economy is doing very well. And what we're doing now is, as a council, focused on what does 2017 look like. So you're going to see the Hotel Du site coming out of the ground through seasons. We're confident that the old general site, you're going to see a lot of activity take place on there, and we're hoping for a good announcement in 2017 early. You look at the Church Street, the old former, I guess, National Gas building, 51 Church, the black box as everyone calls it. There's a sold sign on that now. So we're looking to work with that developer to see what their intentions are. You look at Fortress in Port, 2017, as they said, is the year that you're going to start to see some activity there. You're looking at the GM property being all taken down. So what's going to come out of the ground there? So 2017 is going to be very focused on new developments taking place. And I got to tell you, Karena, you look at the job creation that comes out of each of those developments. Those are short-term construction jobs, which are needed in our community. Helps get people back into the workforce. But just as importantly is the kind of opportunities that come out of those developments. So I think you're going to see a lot of construction taking place in 2017, and that's something that we did as a council, and we were committed to through our strategic plan, is bringing those properties back to life in our community. So, and then with that, the Compassionate City is making Compassionate City 2.0. 2016 was the year of Compassionate City building in our community. It's really taken hold, and I think in 2017 you're going to see Compassionate City 2.0, which is going to be the continuation of building, I think, one of the most compassionate cities in North America.
You had the bus tours this year for city staff
Right.
who could go around and
Yep.
see some of the areas in
Yep.
the city and some of the things. Are you going to be continuing that kind of thing?
That's a
in 2017?
continuation, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's a continuation of the project, which is getting more staff involved. And I think we've done up to 5 or 6 bus tours, and we want to double that for 2017 and get as many staff touring through our community, showcasing what's going on in our community. And we have challenges, and that's something that we're not going to hide from. We're not going to hide from the fact that we still have high unemployment. We're not going to hide the fact that we still need more affordable housing, that we need to create good jobs in our community, and it needs to be a diversity of jobs for as many people as possible. Those are things that we're not going to hide from. We realize that we have needs in our community. And I forgot to mention that you'll see in 2017 the first Niagara Regional Housing building being built in St. Catharines since 1977. And I'm absolutely proud of that announcement, because it shows you that we have a need in our community and we're addressing it, and it's at the Carlton Street site. The community's rallying behind it, and this is going to be a signature building for regional housing in our community, in an area that will allow the folks who are going to be living there to really blossom. So I think saying 2017 is going to be an amazing year.
And I just want to go back to all those developments you mentioned as well, because some of those have been on the books for a few years now.
Yep.
It kind of all relies on what the private sector is doing with
Yep.
those properties. And what is it that the city is doing behind the scenes to try and get those things moving?
So I'll give you a great example with Seasons, and again, Seasons is the one that bought the Hotel Du site. When I met with the owner, Rick Smith, I'm going to say a year and a half ago, they weren't committed to building here. They owned the property, but they weren't committed to building here right away. And we put all the players around the table from the city that needed to be around that table. And we listened to what they wanted in terms of what their vision for the property was. And our staff talked about what they would require to get that building going. And leaving that meeting, his comment was, "You've convinced us to build here now." That's what we can do. So, we've done all the public sector investing that's happened over, but getting the private sector, you have to be a great salesperson. You have to be able to go into those meetings and confidently sell your city. And the staff have done an amazing job. Our council has set the tone that we're working with business. And this isn't just about waiting for business to come to you. We've been to Toronto. I've been to Chicago. We've been to Toronto. We've been to Ottawa. We're going to where the businesses are, and we're saying, here's what St. Catharines is doing. And that's going to be a very important role to play in 2017, is to continue to put St. Catharines on the map.
Thanks for joining me today. I think we're out of time, but
We're
went
out
by
of time.
fast again.
It always
Just
goes
like
by
the whole
so
year
fast.
went by fast. So.
I want to wish you Merry Christmas to
as
you
well.
and your family, and I want to wish you a wonderful 2017. I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to have these discussions, to talk to the public about what we're doing, and I think it's an important vehicle that you've introduced to the Niagara marketplace, because more and more people are talking about how this show is a way in which they can see how the city is developing. So I want to thank you on behalf of City Council for this opportunity.
Well, it was my pleasure, and thank you all for joining us this year, and hopefully we'll see you in 2017.